Hello, friends. In this session, we are going to talk about reactive arthritis in 5 minutes. Not a very long talk on reactive arthritis. You are largely going to get probably a short note on reactive arthritis, unlikely that you will have it for a case presentation in the practical exam. As far as reactive arthritis goes, it is an acute, non-purulent arthritis or synovitis. Synovitis means involvement of the synovial tissue. It complicates an infection usually elsewhere in the body. It's usually a spondyloarthritis following a urogenital or an enteric infection. That means a urinary infection or a gastroenteritis. You will get a history of these infections before the involvement of joint. It is also known as Reiter syndrome. So please remember that if you get a short note on Reiter syndrome, it's the same as reactive arthritis that you are being asked about. So in the terms of the 11 questions on approach to arthritis that we spoke of a little bit earlier, the diagnosis is of an acute, inflammatory, you'll have fatigue, malaise, fever, and other constitutional symptoms. Asymmetric if it is oligoarthritis, or largely a monoarthritis involving the knee in the lower extremity, which is of an additive nature and is triggered by either an episode of diarrhea or dysuria in the recent past, and has extra-articular involvement where eyes, mucosa, skin, nails, and genitalia are involved, usually the eyes and the genitalia. So remember, acute, inflammatory, asymmetric, monoarthritis involving the lower extremity, usually the knee, additive in nature, triggered by diarrhea or dysuria, with extra-articular manifestations in eyes and genitalia, you are dealing with a reactive arthritis. Important differential conditions that should occur to your mind are septic arthritis and gout. Whenever you have a patient coming in with one joint involved in the lower extremity, think of septic arthritis first. Once it is ruled out, think of gout or a reactive arthritis. Triggers, as I said, are gastroenteritis or a sexually transmitted disease. Among the sexually transmitted disease, it's usually a chlamydia. It does not cause septic arthritis. It is gonorrhea which may cause septic arthritis. So when it's chlamydia, it does not cause septic arthritis. It's again an error in this slide. It does not cause septic arthritis. So if I say chlamydia will not cause septic arthritis, it will cause non-septic reactive arthritis. Gonorrhea may cause septic as well as reactive arthritis. So when it's gonorrhea you're dealing with, you have to think of septic arthritis also. Usually is an immune response from the body, and it produces antibodies which causes the inflammation in the joint. The associated features you see are a bilateral non-infective conjunctivitis, an anterior chamber uveitis, and a circinate balanitis, that is inflammation or dermatitis of the glans penis or the head of the penis. So it gives rise to a common acronym or a one-liner which will help you remember the clinical features of reactive arthritis, which says the patient can't see, he can't pee, and he can't climb a tree. So C because of the uveitis and the conjunctivitis, P because of the balanitis, and climb a tree because of the arthritis. So that's the triad: uveitis, conjunctivitis, balanitis, and arthritis in reactive arthritis. Genetic associations are with the HLA-B27 gene and usually is associated with seronegative spondyloarthropathies, and the others in this group are psoriatic arthritis and ankylosing spondylitis. So while you are managing it, the prevention, it is said that if prompt antibiotics are started in cases of urethritis or an enteric infection, then this may prevent reactive arthritis. However, the jury is not yet out on this. The antibiotics after the onset of reactive arthritis are of a little benefit. And yet you give antibiotics when you see a patient with monoarthritis because you want not to miss septic arthritis. NSAIDs are the mainstay of treatment of reactive arthritis, and most patients will respond to some degree with NSAIDs. Indomethacin, 75 to 150 milligrams per day in divided doses, is the drug of choice. Steroids are given as local injections, or systemic steroids are also given. If the reactive arthritis is persistent, we do start patients on DMARDs, that is disease modifying anti-rheumatic drugs, in which we do give sulfasalazine up to 3 grams per day in divided doses. And another MCQ question that you often get in your pre-PG exam, that a reactive arthritis, if associated with HIV, will improve with antiretroviral therapy. So that's all that I have for today's presentation. And I now come back to the questions. And I did notice that Charavi did ask a question in which she asked whether won't there be a rubbing of inflamed surfaces of joints leading to pain on activity in inflammatory arthritis? Exactly. That's what I did say in the initial part of my lecture, that yes, there would be pain associated with the entire range of motion when a joint is involved, and inflammatory arthritis does involve pain in the joint, and that's the way you determine whether the joint is involved or things other than the joint is involved.
So that's about all that you need to know about reactive arthritis at the undergraduate level. And I hope this session was helpful. Thank you for stopping by.